Hey everybody, Nick here, and today I got a review for you of these little knives right here. This is the Spyderco Ladybug, these two over here, and these are two variants of the Spyderco Manbug. These are very, very interesting knives. First off, though, I want to thank my buddy Sid, who actually donated these three knives to the channel. Sid, they're great knives. I've had a Ladybug and loved it forever, and the better steels are absolutely great, and I can't wait to spend a little bit more time with the H1 and the full serrations on this guy. But anyways, so thank you very much for that. Next thing, let's do a size comparison real quick, and I'll put these two aside here. Actually, we'll use these because they're more consistent. But anyways, you can see these are not very large knives, particularly when I put in a much larger knife, like the Spyderco Dragonfly. Suddenly, whoa, these guys just got tiny. Here it is against the Spyderco Delica, which is a much, much bigger knife by comparison here. Of course, your Ontario Rat number 1, number 2... Good God, guys, I'm already struggling, and we're a minute and a half, not even a minute of the video. Good God. The Ontario Rat number 1, and then finally the steel wheel cut jack. Here we go. Those are kind of my canonical size comparisons. Then actually a couple of others I want to throw in there. This is the Spyderco Roadie, which is another very small, very legal sort of folding knife. And we can see in terms of blade length, you're actually in the same exact length as the, in terms of, that is sharpened length, as the Manbug there. And then finally, this is your Victorinox Classic, which I'm trying to get open with the damn nail nick with its little tiny knife blade shaped appendage here. So anyways, there you go. A couple of other things I want to note. I did actually have a Spyderco Ladybug review up previously. Actually of this little guy here. The thing is, though, it was a very, very early review. It wasn't honestly my best work, and so I've gone ahead and taken it down, and I'm going to put this guy up in its place. Next thing, these two are HAP 40 versions of it. These are a sprint run in the HAP 40 steel, jacketed with SUS 410. The thing is, it's just the steel difference. Most of these guys come in VG10. This guy uses the H1 rust-resistant steel. Then finally, a note on the difference between the Ladybug and the Manbug, you know, except the part you see when you flip it over. Actually, I don't even know what's underneath the Ladybug. There must be male Ladybugs. Anyways, I digress. The difference between the Ladybug and the Manbug, there are a couple of them. First off, you can see in the blade shape, the Ladybug is a little bit more pokey, whereas the Manbug is a little bit more scrapey, almost a Tonto sort of blade. The Ladybug, if we flip them in this direction, you can see the Ladybug has thicker stock than the Manbug. I'm sorry, Ladybug has thinner stock than the Manbug, and it is a much thinner tip. I'll see if I can... Yeah, there you go. You can see the tip gets a little bit thinner on the Ladybug as well. The Ladybug is a little bit smaller. The Manbug is a little bit bigger, and this is the case both open and closed. So you can see here that the Ladybug fits within the silhouette of the Manbug. In the pocket here, the Manbug is a little bit more hand-filling. You know, it fills my hand, even my very small hands, better than the Ladybug does. And then finally, the Manbug costs about $10 more. There you go. So anyways, let's go on ahead and jump into the good, the great, the bad, and the ugly of your Spyderco Ladybug and Manbug right here. So on the good side, first off, all of these knives are pretty damn legal. Under 2 inches is pretty universally good to go. And in fact, pretty much any place that allows locking blades, by and large, is going to be okay with something in this size range. I mean, that's not universal. Check your local laws, not a lawyer and whatnot. But that is a good thing. And the other thing that goes with that is that these guys are pretty much universally unintimidating. If you bust this out in the lunchroom, people are going to look at this and start laughing. It's like, oh, that's adorable. It's cute. As opposed to, something that people could actually get concerned about being, this is unintimidating. Okay, as opposed to something people could actually be concerned about, like, say, a ZT452 here. These guys are really not going to raise a whole lot of suspicions. In fact, people are going to find them adorable more than anything. So that's also good and kind of related to that. Next thing, these guys are very space efficient. What I mean by that is that you get almost as much sharpened edge on the Manbug, and frankly on the Ladybug, as you get on your Spyderco Dragonfly. There is not a huge difference in sharpened blade length here, even though these knives are markedly smaller than the Dragonfly when folded. I mean, seriously. Check that out. And so that efficiency is actually very nice. It means that this, well, takes up less room in the pocket, takes up much less room anywhere, and so that's something I appreciate very much. Next thing, these have very nice blades, because they are thin behind the edge. They are ground to cut, particularly the Ladybug. He's actually a very, very powerful slicer here. They are actually pretty thin overall, and the steel on the HAP 40 ones are pretty good. VG10 is a fine steel as well, and H1 has its uses, being rust-proof and whatnot, but look, you can get all kinds of different steels, and actually that brings brings me to the next point, which is that these are great hosts for sprint run style knives, where they will make this knife in a brand new steel. They've got a Vitoku steel, which is a carbonish sort of steel. I don't have much experience with it, but anyways, they've got this guy coming out in Vitoku here soon, which is pretty great. And I love the fact that they offer these in various sprints, because it gives you a chance to try out a new steel in a relatively inexpensive package. And for people who like compact knives, that's excellent. Next thing, these are all backlock knives, and that's great, because not only is a backlock a very secure locking mechanism, meaning this isn't going to close on your hand or anything like that, but it is also a nice, easy mechanism to operate here, and it is also fully ambidextrous. This knife is completely and totally 100% ambidextrous. Get the same experience as a lefty as a righty, and in fact there's not even a pocket clip on there, so there is literally no handedness to these guys at all, and that's pretty excellent for the lefties in the world, which is good. Next thing, you do get a keychain and or lanyard hole, depending how you want to look at it, so that can be nice. Sometimes a lanyard can actually add a little bit of effective length to the knife handle, so you can get a bigger grip on it, something like that, or just drop it on your keychain. That can work too. And since, by the way, there's nothing really sticking up that can snag and open the blade accidentally, this is a knife that I think you can keep on a keychain with relative safety. So I appreciate that very much. Next thing, this is kind of weird, but I got to say the ergonomics on these guys is surprisingly good. Given, as I've said, I have smaller hands than most men, I think, and so, but nonetheless, I mean, this fits well. You get plenty of grip between these two fingers here alone, with this thumb ramp here doing a lot of work to help you control the blade and to prevent you from sliding up onto the blade. It is a really great, and then this part on the Manbug particularly really does fill the hand, but even on the Ladybug, you do get a fair amount of grip on this. These are surprisingly good in the hand, which is kind of blowing me away. These are also all one-hand closable. As you can see here, you use the typical kind of backlock technique of you put your finger here so that it hits this unsharpened portion, flip it shut, and then here we go. Pop shut, there you go, problem solved, case closed, so that's good. Then finally, these guys are super freaking lightweight, which is great, and makes these guys really easy to just throw into a pocket or something. The Manbug is coming in here at 0.67 ounces, with the Ladybug coming in a little less at 0.52. Either way, these are absolutely freaking good to go in terms of that, and they're both less than an ounce an inch. These are really super lightweight knives, and so I appreciate that very, very much. And so to me, all of that is the good. They're super lightweight. They're one-hand closable with solid ergonomics, nice thumb ramp. Got the keychain lanyard hole. They're very space efficient. They are still backlocks, making them fully ambidextrous, with nice blades, lots of sprint runs available. They are completely unintimidating and pretty damn legal. On the great side to me, what's great about these guys is that they are still absolutely great cutting tools. I mean, this looks like a novelty, just sitting on the table there. If somebody drops these down, like, that's hilarious, but then you actually use it to cut something, and it's like, holy crap, can this thing cut? This is a super effective cutting tool. Using this on boxes, on pretty much anything, this just flies through it, and particularly with the Ladybug, with its even thinner blade, is just like a freaking lightsaber through a lot of cutting tasks. And so you end up with this tiny little knife that is a much more effective cutting tool than some much bigger knives. And so I love that very, very much. These knives, perhaps more than anything else that I'm aware of, pack a huge amount of cutting power into a very, very small package, and beating out even the Roadie, because the Roadie's got this ridiculously thick blade stock and whatnot. I mean, these are just incredible, incredible slicing tools, and they happen to be really tiny. And so to me, that's what's great, is that they are incredible functional tools, even though they are very, very small functional tools. What is bad about these guys? Well, first off, they say on the website that the Manbug came about in part because some people's, and I quote, male ego made it difficult for them to carry a Ladybug. Now look, I'm sure Spyderco was mostly having fun with that, but the thing is, this is a real thing. Psychologists refer to this concept as precarious masculinity. It is a societal and social perception that your manhood is fragile and fleeting. That any contact with the feminine, with the homoerotic, damages your ability to be a man. And so you end up in this state where your masculinity is constantly needing to be reinforced, approved, shown off, lest somebody I don't know, confiscates your wang or something. I don't... Look, the thing is, though, guys, life is way too freaking short for this. If you are so threatened by the thought, that is, of carrying an excellent little purple ladybug cutting tool that happens to share a word with the term for women folk, you're going to need to work on that. And the thing is, I rant because this is everywhere in the EDC world, and it isn't normal, and it's not super healthy. So I really hope that the folks looking at this going, oh, ladybug, I don't know, I don't like the sound of that, that they're able to get to the point where they're secure enough in themselves to carry a purple ladybug, well, knowing full well that they are still every bit as masculine and badass as they want to be. I mean, sorry, a rant slipped out there, and that's not really on the knife, but guys, we gotta do better than this in the community. Anyways, that's completely beside the point. About the knives, a couple of bad things here. There is an integral element to the construction here. You can see that the plastic on these guys is pretty much solid all the way through here. You can see there is a little bit of a hint of a molding line, but this doesn't come apart. It's not like there's a screw or anything in there. And so if you do want to take it apart, you have to loosen this out and then loosen out pull the back spring bar out there. You can, but it's not a great experience, unlike knives where you can take it apart like sandwich style. Actually, this isn't even one of them. Unlike knives you can take apart sandwich. Actually, this is a knife you shouldn't take apart that way. Here we go, unlike this guy. So, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that, but it's not a big deal there. One thing that is a slightly weirder thing is the ladybug here originally came with a Saber Grind. What I mean by that is that only this small portion of the bottom of the blade here is ground out, as opposed to this guy, which has a full flat grind. These are the same model of knife, but this one has a full flat grind and this one has a Saber Grind. The full flat is going to cut a little bit better, and then the full flat grind, and so it just kind of bugs me a little bit. And yet, for instance, the VG10 models of the Ladybug are all coming with the Saber Grind, but the ZDP steel models are coming with the full flat, and similarly, the Sprints seem to come with full flat. I just don't get that, and it's kind of weird that the same model, the Ladybug, offers these two very different grinds. I don't know, that's a little confusing, and there is a market difference. I very much do prefer the full flat grind on these guys. And finally, on the bad side, the price on these guys is a little bit high. Let's be real here. It's $40 for the Ladybug right now, for the basic VG10 Ladybug, and it's $50 or so for the Manbug, basic VG10 Manbug. That's kind of up there. I mean, the nice thing is that the Sprint runs don't seem to be that much more money. Those are coming at like $55 or something like that. That's good. And there aren't that many tiny knives out there at any price that are worth a damn, so, I guess. But considering what you're getting for $40 or $50 pretty much everywhere else, holy crap, that's a little bit pricey. It's not the end of the world, but it is absolutely a little bit on the high side. And so, to me at least, all of that is the bad, is that, well, unfortunately, the prices are a little bit high, even though there's not that much available in this smaller range. Some of these have a Saber Grind, some have a full flat grind, with no real explanation as to why that is. There is an integral construction here, makes it a little harder to disassemble and maintain, although you can still do okay with it, I guess. And then finally, this is promoting a culture of toxic masculinity, although not really. It's just more a thing that already exists. On the ugly front, honestly, there's nothing really that ugly about these knives. I really like these little guys. So let's go to the final conclusion. I mean, look, at some level, these are not the best knives for everybody. They are tiny, 100%. They're weird. They're a little bit on the pricey side, yes, and they are absolutely not enough knife for some of the tasks in life. This is 100% true. But the thing is, they are incredible for what they are, because ounce for ounce, inch for inch, no place do you find more concentrated cutting power. I mean, the Dragonfly is held up as a paragon of compact excellence in the knife-making world, and the Ladybug or the Manbug can school it in terms of both. The stock thickness is smaller. I think it's a bit smaller on both. Maybe not, actually, but still. These are better slices in some ways than the Dragonfly, and ergonomically, they're all both great in hand. I mean, look, the fact remains that I could probably do 80% of my knife-wielding tasks with one of these guys alone. And that's really incredible. For a knife that is this damn small, for it to have that much cutting power is great. And up against the competition, on the smaller cutter, smaller knife end, I mean, you're up against things like this, and holy crap, it's night and freaking day. These are smaller, lighter, faster, stronger all around. As to Ladybug versus Manbug, for me, actually, I do end up preferring the Manbug slightly. For a couple of reasons. I do like the slightly wider handle in my hand. It feels a little better. It fills the hand a little more. It feels a little bit more secure. And I really do like a slight bit of tonto-ness to the blade, such that you can get a little bit of scraping cut going on the front here, as opposed to here where you only end up just stabbing into whatever you're trying to scrape. So I do much prefer the blade shape on this guy. I wish... I don't know, the stock thickness is fine in both cases, but still, they're both very good knives, and frankly, even given the downsides that I've discussed about, these are very, very nice. They are great cutting tools, and I have no problem at all calling the Manbug and the Ladybug both gems, because these are proof that good things can come in, well, very small packages, and that you don't need something that's huge in order to get something that cuts just wonderfully. So there you go. I hope this review didn't bug you too much, and that, oh man, this wasn't terrible. Kind of worked, I guess. But mostly, I hope that you found this interesting and that you have yourselves just an absolutely wonderful and compact rest of your day. Bye now.